Just want to thank everyone for coming to this session. Um, Cultural intelligence, a key to unlocking key potential. So I am Dr. Cheryl Buchanan, and I am from the tiny state of Rhode Island. So 45 minutes and you've toured the entire state, but everywhere is far for us, just for some reason. Um, but I am representing, or I'm currently at Genesis Center, which is in Providence, which is the city. And I just wanted to share with you just cultural intelligence, like activity that my team and I did when it came on to cultural intelligence. One of the things that I saw when I initially started in adult education was that the facilitators, the instructors, were not representative of the students that we had in the class. I was going to be honest. And so it struck me as being very interesting. I've taught high school and elementary um, in different parts of the world, and usually the facilitators or the teachers are a reflection of what their students look like. But once I got into adult education, got a feel for it, fell in love with it, I started really, not even intentionally, but I started like trying to encourage others that I knew into the field as well, right? Because I'm not sure if it's the same in other states, but in Rhode Island, there is actually a shortage of facilitators and instructors. I'm not sure about the other states, but that's so those were some key things that I saw. I'm like, all right, let's see how we can actually get more qualified folks in, and let's see if we can get a nice representation of our students as well. So my team and I did a PD session and we looked at cultural intelligence. I am no means an expert here, so if we do have some experts in the room, please feel free to share. There will be sections in the presentation that we will have questions and we'll ask you to participate. I love to get feedback because I don't like hearing my voice for too long. Right? So when I pause and I'll ask for questions, I'm expecting that you will participate. And I do volunteer people sometimes too. So just a warning, okay? So let's get started. If this participates with me. All right, so that's me. And I think I have already gone into the fact that I've been in adult education for about 13 years now, but I started teaching when I was 6 years old. And it started with my mom's plants. Oh, that did not go too well because I was a very strict teacher, and at times my mom's plants would get hurt in the exchange. And so she was not very pleased with me at that time. I matured and then I went on to real individuals. And so I did elementary school, and my training was or is in high school, English, social studies, and all of that, which caused me to really be pulled to citizenship preparation when I went into adult ed. That's where I started. But then I also started using my English background with ESL classes, and we've been doing a lot of IET programs as well. So that is where I've been dibbling and dabbling in. What we'll be having or what we'll be going through today is what's the definition? What is cultural intelligence? Looking at the components of the theory, the importance of it in adult education. We'll have an activity or two, and then we'll go to summary. So let's get started. I'm going to show you a few pics here. We have three images. And the instruction is simple. When you look at each image, what's the initial thought? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you see it? And just gonna ask folks you can raise your hands. Yes. Oh boy. Is that what came to mind when you saw those images?
I first I looked at the middle image. That's the thing that my eye was drawn to the first, and I saw a duck.
Anyone else wants to share? So image one, two, three. I would like to get, let's start with the first one. So Bunny, you were drawn to the middle one. So thank you. You said, all right. What about the first one?
I actually saw a candlestick first. Might be weird, but
That's okay. Anyone else saw something apart from a candlestick? I see it.
My no. My first thought is that I got the general, that like the three pictures, not one specific. So that's why I say my first thought is, are you testing me? Kind of like a general overview. But then I paid more attention. The first one I saw two people, one in front of the other. The other one I saw a velociraptor. And
Thank you. Anyone else would like to share? Image one. So we saw a candlestick, two people interacting.
That's what I was gonna say. Two people talking to each other.
Okay. And did you see something else? Oh, wait.
Sorry. I kind of see like an apple core.
Thank you. That apple core. So, all right. So that's image one. So we have two people conversating. We have I didn't think of the candle stick you said, the holder, right? But I saw the apple core. So I love that. Image two, we already had a duck. Do we see anything else? Not a where's the okay. Someone saw a raptor, a rabbit. I love the expressions right now. And let's go to image three. Y- you're on timeout. You're on timeout. I'm sorry. That's the teacher in me coming out. But image three, what do we see? Eh, okay.
a teddy bear covering its eyes.
Does everyone see a teddy bear covering his or her, whatever the gender is, eye? Yes. Okay. Impression on why this teddy bear would be covering its eyes. I think that's where I would really want us to.
Is sad or crying?
Sad or crying. So it could be sad or
See no evil.
see. I love that one. See no evil. So if I didn't see it,
Playing hide and seek.
playing hide and seek. I love it. One more? No. So see no evil, playing hide and seek, playing hide and seek. Thank you. So in the chat, thank you guys online for participating. What I saw, let me just share. When I saw this image at first, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. The teddy bear is shy. Oh, I thought about being shy. So it's quite interesting, and thank you all for participating. Now, there is no wrong or right answer that came except the Velociraptor one. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There were no teeth, right? I'm sorry. Yes. So there is no wrong or right answer for these images. But I really want to bring us to really focus on, our eyes and our brains all interpret information the same way, but the images or the initial thought that comes to mind is usually influenced by a certain character, certain things. And so my question, before I tell you what it is, so my question to you is, do you believe that your cultural background, your experiences had any had anything to do with what you initially saw? Because as we shared out, we saw those other images, right? With the rabbit. I remember when I was doing this, my colleague Cynthia saw the image, which she wasn't supposed to, but she saw it. It's like, oh, a rabbit. You saw the duck, I saw the rabbit, and it was a full conversation for like a week to say who was wrong or right. But do you think your cultural background has anything to do with what you saw first? What do we think? Yes.
So this could be wrong, but well, cultural background, but just also lived experience. So we all are raised in a different way. So it's not always cultural. And maybe I identify culture as different, but just the experiences as a child.
What's the comment in the chat? 1 second.
Yeah, Kathleen says, yes, I thought of the Snuggle Bears because I grew up watching those laundry commercials.
I like that. So our upbringing, and I love where you said not it may be cultural, but maybe not as well. But the way that we were brought up, what was okay, in our environment, what was considered taboo, what you saw from like TV or whatever the case, maybe what you experienced will always influence how we interpret and how we actually our perception of things and situations. So let's move on to some hard facts. And so when we talk about cultural intelligence, just for you to be aware, it's the if you hear me refer to CQ, it's also referred to as cultural quotient, which is the same thing, just play on words, right? So the theory was introduced by Christopher Ely and Soon Ang. And this was back in early 21st century when we had, the a lot of travel. So there was an explosion of travels, if people traveling to different parts of the world for business. And so because we had so much travel and so much business, the world was now a smaller community. So in doing that, we had a lot of cultures, a lot of beliefs, a lot of traditions actually clashing. And so what happened, unfortunately, with that going on, we came to the point in 2001 where, the Twin Tower, the attacks, that was almost like an explosion of all these things that were happening at the time. And it was soon after that Ely and Ang actually developed the theory where the question was, why do some but not other individuals easily and effectively adapt their views and behaviors cross culturally? Is it that some people are just easier to adapt to things? Like, why is it that some people, without even thinking about it, they recognize their environment and they make the adjustment without any issues? But there are some folks that, oh, it's this way or it's not being done the right way, right? And that's what brought the inception of cultural intelligence. So the official definition is one's ability to adapt when confronted with problems. And usually this problem will arise when you're interacting with people or, that are from different cultures that's other than your own. When it comes on to the general term, when it comes on to everyday, it's just your skill to relate and work effectively with others. In adult education, this is really true because when we walk in our classroom, we see a lot of different folks. We have a lot of different backgrounds. One of the things that really appealed to me, and this may come up throughout again, and I apologize. I'm a foodie, and so I tend to talk about food in everything. I apologize again. So one of the things that really appealed to me when I went in adult education was the importance of food, right, in the classrooms. And so every end of session we had potluck, and the students would show their appreciation by bringing you a dish. I have eaten so many pastelitos, it's crazy. And it feels like when I go to work, the word diet is no more because students are always bringing food, right? So when we talk about cultures and even within the culture, like different ways, different types of pastelito, I refer to my son. So I just discovered that you have one that's made, you have meat, you have cheese, you have one with jelly, so a sweet one. And I was my tongue was pleasantly surprised. But then when I was looking at cultural intelligence and the differences that we bring, it's like, why do we have a problem? Like, this should be a good thing, right? It never gets boring. So There are four components when we talk about cultural intelligence. We're looking at four main areas: metacognitive, motivational, cognitive, and behavioral. So I'm going to do that. I'll say that again: metacognitive, motivational, cognitive, and behavioral. So four main components when we think about or when we talk about cultural intelligence. And we're going to look more deeply on these four segments. All right. So I have all four on the screen. So I have the official scientific terms here, components here. And then I have a definition. So quick definition of each. So I would like four volunteers just looking at what you have on the screen to, yeah, four different individuals to tell me what they think each would be or what each is. So we'll start with drive. And I would like to hear from those who haven't said anything yet. So, did you? So first, are you sure? I'm gonna start putting a stamp to see.
So I would think motivational would go along with drive.
Motivation, final answer? Okay. So first, so drive is motivation. Do we all agree? Is there any disagreement? Nice job. Woo-hoo, did I candy for you? Good job. That's the motivation. Drive. So now to knowledge. Would like someone from this side, please? Okay.
I would say the cognitive.
Fantastic. So knowledge would be cognitive. Do we all agree with this one? Any disagreements? Nope. Final answer. Woohoo! Action. Oh, Marie, your action.
I'm going to guess behavioral.
You're sure? I think I'm sure. Absolutely sure. Okay. I hear no one disagreeing. So action, nice job. Behavior, CQ, and strategy. What do we think? Well, what do we think? What do we think? Metacognitive. Here we go. So our four components, when we talk about motivational CQ, we're looking at the drive. What keeps you going? Intrinsic, extrinsic, what keeps you going? Knowledge is just the raw information that you have. So if you know, when we talk about those that are from countries like India, what do their weddings look like? You know, what is their tradition? When we talk about things like geographical location of different countries, do you know the countries that are in the southern hemisphere? What about the oceans? Like when we talk about knowledge, it's just the raw knowledge. What are the things that they eat? What are the things, how do they raise their children? And so on and so forth. Action. How do we behave based on the information that we know? How do we behave? And then when we look at metacognitive, that is strategy. When you're strategizing, when you're putting things together, do you consider their different cultures? Like maybe the way that you do something will cause someone to feel excluded or disrespected. All of these things are what we look at. So let's keep going. So here it is. Drive. How can I adapt? What's the interest? And I did mention intrinsic. Can someone remind me intrinsic, just to make sure? Inside, right? And extrinsic. Candy. I love it, right? So motivation, so extrinsic or intrinsic motivation, your interest, your confidence, drive. We have knowledge. How is this similar to my other experiences, right? So your understanding, your values, norms, leadership. The raw, I love to say the raw knowledge, right? Action, how do I behave? When I'm speaking to you, do I speak fast? Do I do slow? Do I do nonverbal? Um, Verbal behaviors. How do I behave? And then the last one, strategy. How can I plan? So we need to be aware of those that are around us. we need, when we're doing our planning, are we checking? Are we one of those folks? And I think about Big Bang Theory. And I think about Big Bang Theory, and in Big Bang Theory, Sheldon, if you know, if you've watched it, okay, I see some smiles, good. So Sheldon is Mr. Know-It-All, and I'm not advertising, let's put that out there, I'm not advertising at all. But Sheldon always talks about Rajesh, yes, he's from India, and he's always telling Rajesh, oh, you're supposed to do this. Like he's teaching Rajesh, who was born, he grew up, he's an Indian, what he should be doing in terms of his beliefs. And Rajesh would be like, well, thank you, Sheldon, because I didn't grow up in India, right? So when we are having conversations, when we're doing things, when we're planning, are we double checking? Are we fact checking, right? Do you say, oh, yeah, I know you do this, and you keep going instead of checking with them to say, am I right, Laura? Do you guys still do that? You know, or do we know it all and we just keep running as if that person doesn't even exist? So, whew, all right. So this is the fun part because I told you I don't like hearing my voice too much. So now it's time for you to do some work for me. So my lovely assistant Laura is going to be handing. I don't know if I don't want you to be distracted yet, but you can go ahead and hand them out. So we are going to look at the cultural intelligence scale. And for those that are online, if you do want to participate or pull up, if you go, I did attach the PDF. So it's on the handout, so you can actually pull it out. All right, thank you. And we have I think most people indicate that they already have a pen. I think most people do, but if you don't, we have a few. So before we get into it, there will be instructions, so please don't start anything yet. So let's hold off a little bit. I just want to give you some information on what you're holding in your hand and what it means. So again, we just discussed the what's cultural intelligence. So let me do a pop quiz. What is cultural intelligence? You can shout out. Cultural intelligence. Okay, good. Nice. So when we talk about cultural intelligence, how you adapt, how do you adapt to situations that have other cultures that's not your own? Good. We have four components. True or false? Four components? Yes. What are they? So you're not allowed to answer anymore. Thank you. And so cognitive, metacognitive, motivational, and what was it? Behavioral. Thank you. So we have those four components. And it was these are a lot of words, but how do we know? Like for me, when I read it and when I was going through, how do I know if I'm culturally intelligent? Like, does that mean so? How do I know? What do I do to check where I'm at? Right. So this is the cultural intelligence scale is actually a tool that was designed to measure our ability to navigate and adapt in these situations or in these settings. Right. This tool is by no means like um th- a tool that you have to use. You have to use a tool that was designed, and it's just to give us an idea of where we are. You're just checking, where am I right now? There is no pass or fail. It's just, where are you, and do I need to work on anything, and what do I need to work on? Again, no pass or fail, just where are we, right? It doesn't mean that if you get a certain score, it means that we have to get that hat, the hat they usually give you when you get low scores. No hats, just where am I? um So we are going to, so everyone already has got one. Good. So I'm going to ask us to, it's 20 questions. And Bunny already started. Who else started? So we have 20 questions. This is personal. We're reading each situation, each scenario, and we're choosing from 1 to 7. 1 being very strongly disagree, and 7 being very strongly agree. So on a scale of 1 to 7, how strongly do you agree or disagree? So you can start. Everyone has a pen? Yes? I want to see what you have. So no ice. Yeah. No music. You need a book? Okay. Yes. So me another minute to finish up. And don't worry, I'm giving you another minute just to select the answers. And then we'll go to the back and I'll explain that first. Thirty seconds. What question? It's all open air. No, no, it's not the reading. So if anyone else has a question on that was number 15, it says shopping conditions in different cultures. When we talk about shopping conditions, looking at the marketplace, what it looks like. In some cultures, you have open market. You go, the meat is open, vegetables, right? The physical environment, right? Barter system or cash or all of that, yeah. Because you know, some cultures you go and you just grab the bread. There's no bags. No. You're welcome. And about is number 16, verbal exchange. Yeah. All right, so I have 10 seconds. 2, 1. Let's get going. So we're going to the back. And on the back, we are going to do it's asking us to do calculations, right? So let's calculate. Let's average everything out. Let me go to that slide. Sorry, give me a second. So here it is. So this one does get a bit, well, it got a bit tricky for me, for my team. So questions 1 to 4 is our questions on strategy. And when we're calculating the average so we're adding all 4 numbers, 1 to 4, for questions 1 to 4. After you add it, we're doing the average, which is dividing the number by 4. Yeah, we're doing some math today. Yes. So all the answers from 1 to 4, we add those and then we divide by 4. But when we get to knowledge, which is questions 5 to 10, we're going to divide by 6. So here we have 6 questions, right? So we're adding numbers 5 to 10, divide by 6. Then questions 11 to 15, add those and divide by 5. And then 16 to 20, add those and divide by 5. Good? Yes? Right. Yes, you will have decimals. Everyone good on how to get your numbers? Any questions, just let me know. Let's see what you have. Oh. Interesting. It's average, that's okay. Did you pass? No. Oh, okay. Another minute. Okay, we have 10 seconds. Well, do we need more than 10 seconds? Are we mostly all set? Yes? Yes. Oh, okay. So here we go. Um, so the question is, what were your results? But most importantly, did you see any surprises? I see some nods. I see some nods. So just to remind us, so questions number 1 to 4 is looking at your or metacognitive. Knowledge is 5 to 10. Questions 11 to 15 look at your drive, your motivation, and questions 16 to 20 is looking at your behavior, the actions. So I saw one person vigorously nodding his head. And so, do you mind sharing what was the surprise?
I was surprised about the knowledge. It was a lot of knowledge questions that I just did not have the answer to. I would score real low on those. That was my lowest one. I scored the highest on drive, but knowledge was my lowest one.
So I actually couldn't answer questions 5 through 10 because I have huge knowledge of a handful of cultures where I can rattle off everything. And then there's hundreds of cultures that I know nothing about. So I didn't quite know how to approach that.
I agree with you on 5 through 10. There was, you could say, you think you know some things on it, but you know you don't know all like the ins and outs of it, and you try to learn it when you're working with people from different cultures. So I don't know if we can truly know everybody's um, knowledge of every system.
Anyone else?
I actually scored high in all areas, and not to say that I'm this wonderful person. However, I grew up in a military household. My father was a Marine. I joined the military myself. I'm also uh, I'm also a licensed minister, so I deal with lots of different people. I went to Uganda this summer. My sons are married to Puerto Rican women, and then the other one is a Caucasian woman. So my family is very culturally diverse. And so, because of that, I think it allows me to have high cultural intelligence because I deal with it every day.
I think that the more we travel and the more we experience and the more we talk to, work with, become family members with people of different cultures, the more we understand and have a higher, cultural intelligence. And I also think, like, my lowest scoring area was the knowledge area because of what Marie was saying. Like, I think that, and I think maybe there's like a counterintuitive measurement that could be built into this because when we know more, we know that we know less. And I think those of us that are culturally intelligent, like everyone in this room, we know that there's so much more, and we're not suffering from like Dunning-Kruger. Like, we don't think we know it all just because we know a little. So I think that's to our advantage also.
I love that. I love it. Okay, one more comment.
I would just be curious to have someone else's perspective on this is what I think about myself, but like, I felt kind of weird answering the question because it's like, well, I guess I think I'm okay at that, but like, what would someone else think? So that'd be an interesting perspective. Yeah.
I love this. Thank you, everyone. So, very good points that came up. And I love the way that Barbara. I love how Barbara put it, like her experience. And even while doing the research and like reading up about this theory, one of the things that came out, and I am not surprised that our knowledge is lower, and you'll see why. You'll see why in a little bit. But you mentioned that you have traveled to different parts of the world and that you've actually lived an experience. And that's one of the things that came out when I was reading on the knowledge component. It is said that your knowledge increases not just by reading about it, but not just by traveling, right? But by experience. And when you say experience, not staying at a resort, where you stay in the pool, right? It's interaction with the locals, right? And so I'm so glad you brought it up, Barbara, because that was one of the biggest points that came up. Yes, we can be very well read, but do you really have the experience? Have you spent a night or a day? Have you slept, in someone's house? Have you actually been in the kitchen to help them prepare or spoil their food? Because, right? But have you actually interacted with them for a few days at least? And that's what would make the difference in our knowledge. So I'm gonna have us go a little quicker because my timekeepers are giving me the eye, and it's not the pleasant one. So I want to share with us. Um, so my team and I did everything that we just did, right? And they gave me permission to share their results with us. I every response that came from you guys is actually what came from them as well. They were like, "Well, I'm not too sure. I would love to see how others did." And they complained. My lowest score was knowledge. I feel like I don't know anything because there's so many cultures. Like there is no way to know them all. But I'm just gonna give you the lowest score of almost everyone. Actually, everyone on the team was knowledge. Does it mean that we are not culturally intelligent? That's where you say no, not at all. Like, thank you, Bonnie. Thank you. Right? It just means that that is not our strongest component, right? That's all it is. And like I said, this is a tool just to keep us, I love to say, to keep us in check, to keep us in the know. Hmm. Yes. Right. But so he would score 7, but when it came on to strategy, he would not do very well because he's not fact checking. He's not like asking, making sure like how are you feeling? Are we good? And his behavior is, well, we know, not criticizing him at all because he's a celebrity and I'm not. So let's keep moving. Um After we did the individual scores, then I went ahead and we looked at the average. So please note, if you look and the bottom of the calculation, it does ask us to do the cultural intelligence score. So this was your score of all 4 components. We would add them, divide by 4. That's your big number. So this is what we're looking at right now on this screen. Sorry. And it does say we have stars here. Scores of 4 or higher are desirable. So if you scored a 4 or higher, then you're on your way, right? You're on your way. You're good. You're good. So I kind of feel good to know that we did not, because I was holding my breath, wondering, when you average everything out, the numbers usually look smaller. Um, so when we finished um, doing the worksheet or the tool, we finished the tool, we completed the table, completed the questions, we did the average, we looked at it. I wanted to actually see what it looked like on the bar graph, right? And here, this bar graph, and I have the components just to remind us. When we did the average, this is what it looks like on the bar graph. And for me, when we just saw it, my team, they were like so discouraged. They're like, oh my goodness, I got a bad score. There is no failure here. There is no failure. So, but when we look at it, remember the highest score is 7, right? So even though you may think, oh, 3 is such a bad number, 4 is just a bad number, your high score is 7. So you're really not as bad as you may think. Actually, you're not bad at all, right? So here's what it was for strategy overall. So just looking at it, what do we need to work on, my team? What do we need to work on? Knowledge, right? Knowledge. But what was our strongest component? Strategy. And when we did this together, it made so much sense. Like when we have goals and when we have an assignment to do, we know how to get it done, right? So this was really, really good and encouraging for my team just to see it on paper. So I love colors and bar graphs and pie charts. But when we put it in this perspective, it actually showed them that we're really overall, what do we see overall? Are we exactly? Thank you. And that this is why I actually put it on this chart because I wanted them to see we're pretty balanced. You know, we're pretty balanced. There are some folks that are stronger in some areas than others, but that's what makes a team effective. We're working and we're supporting each other. So what you're not the strongest in, I'm a little stronger, so you lean on my shoulders, right? And that's what encourages that dynamic with the team. And the fact that we're able to come together as a team to put plans together, to stay motivated, to get results, then that's to me, that's we're already half of the way done, right? The knowledge we can build as we go along. So how will this affect the team? These responses are all based on what we discussed in our meeting, right? And so we spoke about right now communication is awesome with the team. Communication, collaboration. We have each member like having a unique connection with each other. So when I am talking with Laura, if I'm talking with Marie, then the way we conversate is going to sound a little differently because we know each other that well, right? We're looking at sharing values. We share out when someone is a new grandma. We had a colleague, her first grandchild was born and it was a celebration. In December, we had two, I had two team members. They were expecting their first child. Two of our male, and you'll see them later. And the rest of the team, we decided to do a surprise shower and it was a success except one of one of my colleagues actually had the surprise was on us because the day we were having the shower his wife went into labor, so surprise, he didn't make it. But you know, those are the things that we are able to share with each other inside of, you know, at work, but also you know, what influenced our experiences outside. What do we need to improve? And as always, there will always be a need for improvement. We're never perfect. And that every time someone joins your team, the dynamic will change, right? Is it a bad thing? No, that's life. That's life. And so as we learn and we recognize where we are, we now know how to adjust. And there it is again. So we're enhancing, it says we enhance our cultural intelligence through knowledge, continuously improving, learning about other cultures. And so what we do is we actually, whenever I start my meeting, so we meet every Thursday at 4:30. And one of the icebreaker I love to do ever so often is to share one interesting fact about the countries that's represented on my team. And that really is quite interesting. We learn a lot of history, we learn about food. Again, I warned you. And we learn about, like, you know, so many interesting things in that way. And we always encourage feedback. We share things out on teaching strategies. We actually do exchanges. So facilitator will swap or switch classes. So if I have a GED instructor, ESL instructor, then they will switch classes and they'll give each other the lesson and they'll teach each other's lesson for that class, you know, just so that, you know, you can really understand and know what's happening among your team members. And that really adds not just to the classroom experience, but to the quality of instruction that we're given as well, because here facilitators are giving students the what they need to move to the next level. Okay, so this video is a forum that we did. And like I mentioned, we did the scale together. And this is a video that everyone wanted to share with all of you that are here about the experience of doing this speedy together. education director of Eden programs at the Enriching Center. And we are here, my team and I are here to discuss cultural intelligence. So I'd like everyone to introduce more herself. Now start with Connie. Say about me.
And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Connie Palacios Borges. I am ESL teacher, level 1 and technical instructor, and I've been with Genesis for a little more than 2 years.
Matthew. I'm an evening facilitator at the Genesis Center. Currently facilitating level 1B, and I've been with the Genesis Center for 1 year.
Babatunde.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Babatunde Taiwo. I am the facilitator for Math and Science GED program, and I've been working with Genesis Center for almost 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Noga?
Good evening. My name is Noga Paulino, and I've been doing facilitating the facilitating program for the citizenship preparation. I've been with the Genesis Center. It's going to be 10 years, March 30th. My birthday.
Thank you, Noga. Luz Lenny.
Good afternoon. My name is Luzleni Calder. I am working for 14 years with Genesis Center. I am the ESL Child Care Providers Facilitator.
Thank you, sir. IET firm. I appreciate you, Luzleni. Kamal?
Hello, everyone. My name is Kamal Elias, and I am the ESOL teacher of the EBI program, level 3. I've been in the center for more than 6 years, and I'm happy to work with Genesis Center all the time.
Thank you. Audrey?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Audrey Passaway, and I am a GED instructor at the Genesis Center, and I've been with the Genesis Center for, I believe, 5.5 years.
Thank you. Fatima?
Good evening. My name is Fatima Basha. I'm an ESL instructor at the Genesis Center. I teach level 4, and I've been with the company for 4 years.
Thank you. Jody?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jody Tavera. I'm also one of the evening facilitators at Genesis Center. I'm currently leading on level 1B, 1A, actually. And I've been working with the center for nearly 2 years now.
And Kathleen?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Kathleen Wilson, and I've been with an evening facilitator with the Genesis Center, I think almost 2 years now. And I teach a special program for international medical graduates. And I have one section that is ESL and another section that is test prep.
Thank you, everyone, for introducing yourself. Now that we're all familiar and everyone at the conference knows who we are, let's get right into the question. So the first question is, what does cultural intelligence mean to you? And I'm going to ask Luz Lenny to start us off with this question.
Thank you. Cultural intelligence for me means the ability to understand and effectively interact with people from different cultural backgrounds, including their values, norms, communication styles, and behaviors, allowing you to adapt and navigate diverse situations with empathy and respect. Essentially, for me, is the skill of relating to others across cultures without assuming everyone operates the same way as you do.
I love that. Thank you so much. Connie,
Thank you.
I'm sorry, not Connie. Kathleen, I'm gonna call you to tell me your perspective on this question.
Okay, thank you, and Cheryl, for the opportunity to share. First of all, I think for me, cultural intelligence has to do with sensitivity. I really like what Ms. Laney said, not assuming that, especially when I am working and teaching students, that come from a variety of traditions, cultures, backgrounds, languages. So I think for me, it's something where there's two components. One is knowledge, that I want to get to know people from other places in the world. So I need to know about, again, their traditions, their language, their culture, food.
Always food.
Great places to go, to visit in their country. But it doesn't stop there, because I have to apply then what I've learned. And so for me, it's like looking for points of commonality. What do we have in our cultures that are similar, are the same, but then also celebrating and valuing what things are distinct. And I think having cultural intelligence helps with personal interaction. It certainly helps in the classroom, builds relationships, and I think it also helps prevent a lot of misunderstanding. So
I love it. Very good points. Noga, what's your perspective?
I'm gonna be really short because everybody too.
That's okay.
Thanks. But anyway, for me, it means everything. It means adapting, working with different people from different cultures and different backgrounds. And it also helps me understand different ways of like how people learn, coming from other countries, how people learn in this country so fast. They get adaptive by us facilitators helping them integrate into a class and be able to express themselves, so that way we can give them the most uh, of like education that they can understand and not feel like, oh, I'm out of place. So to me, really, an example of real life, it will be practicing with them, like maybe their languages. They have a big amount of students from Haiti, and I like to learn different words so they can feel wealth. I am learning Haitian Creole right now, so I feel like helping them understand, and whenever you say something in their language, they feel like, wow, she's learning. Oh, wow, that's great. So to me, it's everything. That's what cultural intelligence is about.
Thank you so much, Noga. I love the example. Jody, what do you have to share about cultural intelligence to you?
Well, again, good evening, everyone. I am the one who's gonna narrow it down for you guys since all my peers already covered the topic really well. But to me, the cultural it's like the way we all have to adapt to different environments, languages, backgrounds, and cultures. I think we all have adapted pretty well when it comes to Genesis Center, since we are all facilitators and we have different students from different backgrounds and different countries, cultures. And just the simple fact that we can gather them all in English and try to express ourselves and try to communicate in one language says it all. But yeah, as Noga said, I'm also learning Haitian Creole. I know a couple of I know actually a couple of words in Creole. And even though most of my class, the head count is Spanish speakers, I also try to make them feel welcome and also like they are part of the community that we are building up. So that's what it means for me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your feedback. We're going right into question two, which asks, how are the components of cultural intelligence relevant to you? And I'm going to ask Fatima to give us some insight on this question.
To me, cultural intelligence refers to knowledge, one of the components. I think Marilyn Voss Savant said it best. To acquire knowledge, one must study, but to acquire wisdom, one must observe. So it's very important that we negotiate with any others' viewpoints and cultures, and then we can strategize, and then after that, take action.
I love that. We all strive for true wisdom. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Audrey?
Just to piggyback off what Fatima mentioned, it's also bridging the gap of division and knowledge and bringing cultures together, educating yourself, your peers, and being very observant and very interpersonal with your environment and the people around you.
Lovely. Thank you. Ahi.
Uh, the the components of cultural intelligence have overall made me a more effective communicator. So being an evening facilitator, having a better understanding of the foundation of knowledge and culture to pick up on physical cues of how certain practices are accepted in other cultures more, and as well as emotional intelligence to relate it back to culture in the classroom as I'm teaching and learning in the process to become a better facilitator for the students and create a positive learning environment.
I love it. Like just going. Okay. Okay, good. We are on the right track. So we just to respect time, I'm gonna cut that short. We just missed the part where Kamal shared his clue. But I just wanted to share with you. Oh. Okay, thank you. So just wanted to share with you. So that video shows the faces of my team. And this slide shows the countries that are represented on the team. Um, Pretty extraordinary. And I asked them to share out like how long they've been with us because everyone on my team are all part-time facilitators. And I always thank them for actually being with the company for as long as they have been. I know when it comes on to part-time employment, a lot of times we get folks that are just there for a short period of time and then they move on. But my facilitators, they've been sticking with me. I have one that actually joined the company before I did, and then the rest of them came after. So we are actually like really good friends. Now, can we? Yeah, I'm gonna make sure we're done on time, right? I'll speed it up. But can we identify some countries here from the flags? Let's check our knowledge. Colombia. Top left, okay. Okay, we have a superstar. Haiti. No, Haiti. Jamaica, which is the only flag that does. What is it? What is it? What is it?
Cheryl actually taught me this. Jamaica is the only flag that doesn't have red, white, or blue of all the flags in the world.
Right. Yeah, exciting. So, can we identify two other countries and then we move on? Cuba, Puerto. No. We have Syria, yes, and not Puerto Rico. Dominican Republic. We do have Nigeria. We do have Nigeria here. One more. Yes, we do have Cuba. Syria. Syria. So can we identify this flag? Iraq. And what about, is it this one? Not Chile. Anyone has any ideas? This one will blow your socks off. Are you wearing socks? Okay, if you're not wearing socks, you're okay then. So this is Liberia. Wouldn't have thought that, right? Liberia. Yes. So we are represented strong. I love just the flags alone. So we have here are all the yeah, so this is the team, everyone including our enrollment staff. So those are our faces, these are our flags. And I just want to wrap it up in 2 minutes. Here we go. So cultural intelligence in terms of adult education comes in various forms. I only have 4 listed here, but when we think about this, let's really focus on having a broad range of career opportunities. Let's have staff with knowledge of different cultures and traditions. You know, we're dealing with students every day from so many different parts of the world. So this shouldn't even have to be said, right? Make sure that we have a campus, a school environment that involves everyone.
everyone in different ways, in different activities, in what we say, how we interact. And because we are right at time, I'm just going to ask you, I'm going to give you a minute. Don't worry, I'm going to give you a minute. I just want to say that I hope this interaction today will give us an opportunity to just stop and reflect. Reflect on how can these concepts be utilized at our individual organizations? How can we make it more inviting for everyone, not just different students, but our colleagues, anyone that visits our organization? When they come there and they leave, do they feel like, oh my gosh, I love this place? Do they feel like when they leave or when they graduate, they can always come back and just say hi? You know, do you have students that come back to say, "Hey, teacher, just saying hi. I'm working here and I want to bring you a gift." You know, can we say that? If we can, kudos. If that's not happening, let's work on it, right? One thought and then we end.
I think that the amount of people that you showed from your team and the amount of flags is, I think it's really like kudos to the organization. I think one of the most important things that we can do if we are part of the hiring process is to be purposeful with how our staff reflects our student body, and like to have that many cultures represented in the teaching positions and in the management positions is really important, because it shows our students like, I can be the director, I can be the teacher, and it just builds in like some cultural intelligence opportunity that not everybody has. So I think I don't work for Genesis Center. I'm just saying anymore. I think it's really great the way that the team has been built, and I hope to take that and purposefully build my next team in the same way.
Thank you for sharing. Thanks for sharing. And yes, so here is my contact information. If you do have any questions, because I know we're out of time and it's lunchtime, I do not want to hold you up. So thank you, thank you, thank you for joining, for participating. I hope we got some useful information and we'll be better for it. Enjoy the rest of the sessions. And I think I need to plug, I have a session tomorrow at 2, so come on over. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you.